Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Billy Chan. Alright, and today we have Mohd Parid together with us. Parid is the most sought after the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People trainer in our company. And obviously he's going to share about this book, the famous late Stephen Covey book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. These are going to blow your mind away because he's going to share the tips not just about the aspect of the book but how he used it in his life and excelled in it. Parid is going to share about it now.
Okay, thank you, Billy. Okay, so this book is about the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, right? So what Stephen tried to give a message or try to put a frame. If you want to be more effective, right, as an individual, either at work or at home or in the community, you need to adopt this highly 7 habits of highly effective people. That's what he's trying to see, right? Okay, I start with some icebreaker. We talk about 3R: rejuvenate, re-energize, and refresh, right? Okay, this is one of the old Intel cartoons. See, thanks for joining us from home. Fabian is working from home. Then the guy said, okay, my pleasure. Sorry, I didn't send this file by email before the meeting. That's all right. Just hold the presentation up real high. Then they found out, yeah, Fabian work from home. His home can see the office, right? This is about the our co-processor. I've tested this new processor rigorously, including mass processor. Yes, So what he tests for? She tests the employee bonus formula, right? Okay. So the last one is on the acronym at Intel, right? What's the ETA for the PRD? Then the guy said TBD. Then the lady said again, for info, I will be OOP in the AM, and I will be WA until end of day tomorrow. Then the middle lady said, hey, can you please clarify the TLA you just used? Then both of these guys just, have a question mark. Then he said a 3-letter acronym. In our daily life at work, right, we have a lot of acronyms, right? So this is one of the challenge, right? Especially for the new guys, or even the person that just joined a new business unit and he have to figure out a lot of these 3 letters acronym. Yeah. Okay, all right. So what I intend to do for the next 1 hour or 45 minutes, 1 hour, right? I will go through some of the topic that I captured from the book. We're going to introduce Stephen Covey, and we talk about the 7 habits of highly effective people, what frame of habit that Stephen tried to propose, right? And we look at this time management quadrant. This is one of the things that I like the most, which is the time management quadrant, right? And then we talk about empathetic listening skill. This is related to the, I think, habit number 5, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then punch today in the face, right? And then we go for conclusion. Then after that, I will open to the floor to have some discussion, whatever question that you want to ask me, right? Okay. Okay. Stephen Covey. I met Stephen Covey in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. He come down to Kuala Lumpur. He was invited by the Association of Malaysian Bankers. So we pay about 1,000 ringgit per person. There's 3 of us from Intel. So the rest of the audience is a lot of bankers and quite a number of big executive from big companies from Malaysia. Is different, right? So I used to teach the 7 habit, but when you meet him personally, the environment, the aura, all different, and you can appreciate what he really is. So Stephen passed away in 2012, right? He is actually an American educator, author. He write quite a number of books. He's a businessman, and he did a lot of keynote speaker related to what he write as in the book, right? So his most popular book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But he also wrote the 8 Habit, what called 8 Habit is good to great. You cannot just say for be good, how you make yourself to become a great person, right? So that is what 8 Habit is, right? And they are doing, he's doing a lot of other writing also about, there is a 7 Habit of Highly Effective people for kids or for families or something like that, right? So that is what Stephen Covey is doing during his lifetime, right? Okay, so the 7 Habit books are actually sold for almost more than 20 million worldwide. They have been translated in various language and is quite popular until now, right? Okay, so this is one of the words that I think very bold or very kind of what do you say, very clear, and it touched me, right? He said that I'm not a product of my circumstances. I'm a product of my decision. What's that really mean? So Stephen Covey trying to say is that, hey, you might meet a people in the community and say, hey, I'm poor because my dad is poor, or I'm stupid because I'm living in a very environment that there's no school or there's no textbook, no teacher, whatever it is, right? So, but instead of blaming the circumstances, right, you should design your destiny. You should set a goal, what you want to be, what you want to become 5 years down the road after you join Intel, for example, right? Or 10 years after you working, what you want to be, what is your aspiration, what's your vision? So this is what Stephen Covey is trying to say, you should set, you must be a product of your decision. So if your decision to become engineer, what you need to do, you have to study STEM, right? You enter university, study engineering. When you graduate, then you become engineer, right? So you decide actually what you want to be, rather than say that, hey, I'm poor because all my parents poor, and all the villages that in my kampong is all poor, right? So it's not because circumstances, but you are a product of your own decision. Okay. Okay. Before you can adopt the 7 habits, Stephen Covey is saying that there are 2 guiding principles that you have to adopt, you have to embrace before you go to the practicing or understanding what 7 habits is all about, right? First, you need to address your character, not just your behavior. We go to that a little bit. And then he said, second is that you need to embrace universal principles such as fairness and honesty. You cannot expect people to be fair and honest on you while you yourself is not fair or honest, right? So these are 2 guiding principles that you need to adopt first before you go about 7 habits. Okay. So, so number 1, address your character, not just your behavior, right? So they talk about personality ethic, they talk about character. So when we talk about personality ethics, it's called outside in approach, right? So people wear smart to work, for example, that is outside, right? So he dressed properly when you go to office, right? Or he is look very clean, or or when he's in office, he arranged properly, everything on his table or whatever it is. He look very smart, very clean, whatever it is. So that is from outside, right? But it will not last longer, right? So if you pretend what you are not supposed to be, that thing will not last longer, right? But what will happen if you improve your inner character? It means that not just going to work you look smart, but at home you also dress properly, right? You make sure your home also very clean. You have the thinking yourself, hey, I want to be a very smart people, so you do it from your heart, not because people want to see what you should look like, right? But if from your heart, I want to be look smart, I want to be a very clean person, I want to be very disciplined people. So you the character is from the inside out, not from outside in, right? If you let people to change you, then it will be very difficult. It will not be last longer. But if you yourself want to change, then from your hearts, right? Then that change will last longer, right? Okay. Then the other one, you talk about the embrace universal principle, right? As I mentioned, what is the universal principle that Stephen Covey talk about? Is talk about honesty, integrity, and fairness, right? So you need to assume this as a natural law. If you cannot embrace this, then it will not work, right? You cannot expect people to be honest, integrity, and fairness while you yourself is not having that principle, right? So if you're cheating, you are behaving differently, right? Then it will not support you at all, right? So, so if you embrace these two, then you can go ahead talk about 7 habits. Okay, all right. Billy, the network is still okay, huh? You can hear me, right?
Can. Very good.
Okay, all right.
Give a thumbs up. Yeah, if you all can hear, can give a thumbs up.
Yeah. If you have breakdown or you cannot hear me, whatever, just send a notes or whatever is right. Okay. Now we talk about 7 habits of highly effective people. So there are 7 parts. I will go through detail what Stephen Covey means for each one, right? First one, talk about be proactive. What it means by be proactive, right? Begin with the end in mind. Put first thing first, right? Think win-win, right? Seek first to understand, then to be understood, right? We talk about listening skill, right? How you understand people before you make people to understand you, right? Synergize, right? What it means by synergize, right? What happens when a group of people become synergized, right? A team, a member, understanding each other, right? And then the last one, sharpen the saw. You cannot keep sawing without sharpening your saw, right? What happens if you keep sawing but your saw become blunt, right? What will happen, right? So the 7 habits tell you that the last one will be you need to sharpen the saw, right? Okay. Now, habit 1. So let's look at habit 1. Habit 1 say be proactive and take control of your own faith, right? So what Stephen Covey is saying that people react in one of 2 ways. Either they react reactively or they react proactively. And how we react tells a lot about ourselves, right? Whether we be prepared or we just a spontaneous reaction, or we plan it and we know that when it comes, this is what we should do, right? It's like fireman, right? People is saying that you see that is there always fire every day? Not necessarily, right? But what is the fireman do when there's no fire? They always do training. They train again. They train how to climb a wall. They train how to prepare the fire extinguisher. They train on if this happen, what they should do. Right? If there's a toxic, what they should do. Right. So all this been trained again and again. by the time that the fire happened, everybody, all the firemen know what to do. You know, who is the one that put where they want to supposed to get water, how they, put the fire out. You know, whether they need a high ladder, right? All this has been trained again and again, and because of that, they can put the fire off in a very short time. They save life, they save the house, whatever it is, you know, as fast as they can, right? So that is proactive, right? But what is example of reactive? There's a lot. We can go that later on, right? Okay, give you another example how you react reactively. Okay, if you answer when there's a problem, you say it's out of my hands, or it wasn't my fault, then Stephen Covey saying that you likely have a reactive mindset, you know, because you try to wash your hand, right? You don't want to get involved, right? You want to stay away, right? So your reaction is more on reactive, right? But if you see a problem come, immediately what you say, hey, let's try to find a solution. Or you say that hey, I decided to fix this problem, and I decided to call a police. I decided to call ambulance or something like that. Then it show you have a proactive mindset. Right? Is that a voice or what? No. Okay. Yeah, so this means that you accept that not everything is within your control, and therefore focus on things you can work on, right? I decide to call a police. I decide to call ambulance. You know that you cannot have the injured person. So what you do, you call ambulance, right? So you take what I call the decision, and that decision is within your control. What I can do, I call ambulance, right? There's a big accident. Or there's house on fire. What I do, I decided to call what I call this fire brigade, right? Okay. So if this is the way you respond, then you respond proactively. You take the things in your own hand, and let's move on and decide what to do, right? Okay. Okay. So Stephen Covey said that first habit asks followers to take responsibility for their mistake and respond in a proactive way. How? One is try to remind yourself that the root cause of a problem is usually your reaction to it, not the problem itself. Okay, you try to figure out that self. That's how Stephen Covey is trying to say, right? Remind yourself that the root cause of problem is usually your reaction to it, not the problem itself, right? And whenever you find yourself faced with a challenge or a problem, make a conscious effort to focus on finding the solution instead of blaming others, right? So if you practice this, then you are practicing habit one. Be proactive and take control of your own faith, right? Okay, I'll give you another example. So let's look at this circle. There's two circles here. One is circle influence. One is a circle of concerns, right? So the middle one talk about circle on influence. What is things that within your influence? For example, how you treat others, right? Whether you treat others badly or good or whatever it is you control it, right? You can scream or you can yell at people, or you can say good morning, hey, how are you, whatever it is. So that is what you say circle of influence. You can influence the things by yourself, right? Your mindset, right? You think about things, you think about worldly matters. All the things that you think is within your mindset, right? So whatever you think is you control yourself, right? So that is what circle, an example of circle influence, right? Then you look what is outside the circle of influence, they call it circle of concern. You have a concern of that particular issue, whatever it is, but you have less influence to change the thing, right? For example, they give here is the weather, right? Whether rain or shine, whatever it is outside there, do you have a control? Yeah, you have a concern because if there's a rain, you go outside and you will get wet, right? And you always want to have a sun, right? A sunny day, right? But can you control whether that day is raining or shine? You cannot control, right? So you can whine about it. So sunny, so hot, whatever it is. Or it's rain, every day raining. You have a concern because it's rain, then you cannot go out, right? But can you control it? You cannot. So that's why it remains in that circle of concern. You have less influence, but you have a great concern, and you cannot do much about it, right? Of course, if you be proactive now, you know that it might be raining, or before even the rain, it looks sunny. But what do? You bring out umbrella, right? But a lot of time, you are complaining. Oh, it's raining. You whining. But will it change? Not necessary, right? Talk about maybe politics also, right? This leader not good, this leader, everything here, there's corruption here and there. You keep whining, right? But will it change? The only time you can change is during the election time, right? That is the most influenced part of the whole politics in the country is during the election time that you can decide which party that you want to choose, right? Even after that, if the person that you got later become corrupted, you still cannot what I call control it, right? Okay. There are others example, for example, the future. Do you really have a control what is coming 10, 15 years down the road? You might not have full control, right? Okay. So Stephen Covey is saying that habit one tell you that if you want to focus on proactiveness, you work on the circle of influence, not work on the circle of concern. So when you work on the circle of influence, things that you can control, things that you can change, then you have create a lot of positive energy, and that circle of influence can keep growing, and one day things that you cannot control can be influenced by you. For example, today you are just new engineer, right? You cannot control, budget, whatever it is. You want budget, and boss, whatever department said, no budget, right? But if you work hard, one day you become department head, you can control the budget, right? At that time, your circle influence become bigger and bigger, and now that budget become your circle of influence, right? So work on the circle influence, right? That's what proactive focus means, and you have create a lot of positive energy. Now, if you continue working on the circle of concern, you keep bucking the mountain like the dog, bucking the mountain, right? Does the mountain change? The mountain move? No, it doesn't move, right? But it creates you use a lot of energy. It's all negative energy, right? You cannot move the mountain, right? So don't keep bucking at the mountain, because you waste a lot of your time. You keep whining, you keep complaining, you feel sad about it, but do you change it? No. So instead of doing this thing or whining, whatever it is, forget about it. Just focus on things that you can influence, right? And if you continue working on the circle of concern, what happens is that you become sad. Things that you can influence become smaller and smaller, and it will create negative energy. And down the road, you'll be what I call burnt out. You can have a lot of fatigue. You'll be very tired. Things like that, right? Okay. So this habit one. All right. I hope you can accept. All right. Billy, so far I'm okay. 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 I can speed up a little bit. Okay. Habit two talk about begin with the end in mind, right? What Stephen Covey is observing is that whenever people perform an action, right, they are actually performing twice. For example, first they in their minds when they imagine themselves completing the action. You know, it's like an architect, right? When he want to build the building, right? He want to come out with the building. What he do? He will imagine what's the building look like, how the people move in, where the is facing the sunrise or the the sundown or sunset, or what's the shape of the building, how tall the building can be. So all this is imagined by the architect. Once he have all that, then he start putting on the paper. And what is on the paper, what he's drawn it, right, will be most likely what he was imagining in the first place. So and then it's same thing when the contractor come in to build how he take the drawing by the architect. What he do, he will imagine, figure out, plan, right? He will plan it first, right? How much workers, how much time, how much budget, blah blah blah. Then he said, okay, by having all this, then he can. Now once that, then only he start constructing the building, right? So most of the time when people perform, actually they perform twice. Once in the mind, then he doing it again. And what he do, the result of what he do, he build a chair or a table, or whatever it is, will be what he imagined before he built it, right? If not, then you don't have you cannot just start building a chair without thinking about it, right? So Stephen Covey is saying that whenever you want to do something, you must have something in mind. What the chair look like, right? What is your goal by doing this project, right? So you imagine, the goal is what? 100% yield, zero quality, right? Zero defect, right? Something like that. So you have set goal, right? 5 years down the road, I want to become senior engineer. 10 years down the road, I want to become a senior manager, right? 15 down the road, I want to become director, whatever it is, right? So you set a goal in your careers, right, before you proceed towards that goal, right? So having end in mind will really help the person to move in the right direction, right? Okay, so they talk about skill Stephen Covey is saying that it's a skill we should all have if we want to be effective. Visualizing what we're going to do before doing it can help improve the result. Okay. Another example, what is your legacy you want to leave behind, right? For example, let's say you are 40 years old now or 30 years old now. And you're going to have your birthday at 80 years old later or 95 years old later. What you want your wife to say to you or your son to say to you when you are at 95? You imagine that, when I'm 95, if my son come to me, I would very, like to hear he said, hey, Dad, you are the best dad in the world. Or your wife will say, your spouse will say, you are the best husband in the world, or something like. Or maybe your friend will come to you at 80 years old and say, you are the best friend in the whole world that I have, right? So that is the legacy that you left behind. So you are setting a goal ahead that, hey, this is my legacy. This is what if I reach that point, people will talk about it, right? My name will be on that building. People will recognize that, hey, I am the best engineers in the world because of what I'm doing something really, really big, about engineering design, right? Something like that, right? Okay. Okay. So before we go to habit 3, right? This is what we call is a time management quadrant, right? we have what we call urgent and important, right? So, so we have 4 quadrants here. First one is about urgent and important, right? Second one is not urgent, important. The third one is urgent and not important. The fourth one is not urgent, not important. So anybody can give me example, for example, for urgent and also important. Anybody? Billy or anybody?
Go to toilet. I think very urgent and very important.
Okay, all right. Okay, what else is urgent and important?
Serious medication status.
Okay, yep, medication is, yeah, it's urgent because you feel sick, right? So you need to know what's happened to your body now. So it's urgent and important, right? Okay, what else? Maybe what is urgent and important?
Hey, Parid, there's a few things from the chat. I read it out for you, right? They say car broke down and
Car broke down.
Fire alarm ring
Okay.
and
Okay.
safety. Now, it pops on the screen instead of safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, safety. Okay. Yeah, that can be urgent. Okay. What is urgent, not important? Give me example. Urgent, not important. Okay. Your phone is ringing. Is that urgent and important, or is urgent not important?
It can be urgent and not important. It can be.
Yeah.
I'm not
Of
sure
course.
before we pick up the call, but it is urgent.
Yeah. When your phone ringing, right, it's urgent because if you don't answer the phone in the next 4 or 5 seconds, it will stop ringing, right? So it's urgent to answer the phone within 4 or 5 seconds. But after that, it's not urgent and because the phone might die. So, but it's not necessarily important, right? When the phone ringing, yeah, if you feel urgent to pick it up, but it might not important. It can be a wrong number. It can be insurance salesman, right? It can be Astro callers says try to get you subscribe more Astro channels, right? So answering a phone is urgent, but might not important, because if important, I'm sure that in the next 1-2 minutes, the phone will keep ringing, because if somebody die, for example, right, and he want to notify you, if you don't answer in the next few seconds, it will ring again because the guy still trying. Then you know already that it's become important, right? Okay. Now, give me example not urgent and not important. Anybody? Not
WhatsApp
urgent.
message.
What's that?
WhatsApp message.
Yes. Okay. Good. WhatsApp message. Yes. What else? Watching video or watching TV too much, right? Okay. It can be not urgent, not important, because you can still, watch it some other times, right? And if you watch too much, you become, not healthy, right? You less sleep, for example, right? So, okay, email. Email is which category? Email, reading email.
Oh, like pop quiz in the morning, Parid, Now the brain need to start to work.
Yeah. So email can be urgent. It is the real world. Is from your boss. It can be urgent. Even from your boss, sometimes it sounds urgent because it's from your boss, but the content might not be important also, right? So emails, excessive emails, right? There's scam emails lah, there's junk email lah, right? So it's not urgent, not important, right? But it's email that relate to work, right? Report, whatever, that can be urgent and important, right? So it depends, right? Okay, serving internet too much also it's not urgent, it's not important. But if you're serving internet for doing research, then it can become important, but not necessarily urgent, because you can do the serving internet for research at different time. It can be important, but not necessarily urgent. Okay, now what is not urgent but important? Anybody has
Go medical checkup. I think very
yes.
important also.
Yes. Actually, it's not urgent. You can arrange what time you want to do medical checkup, right? But it's very important because from time to time you want to know what is the condition of your body, right? Okay, good. Medical checkup. What else?
Saving, money saving.
Money saving. Yes. Yeah. You try to save money for future, right? It might not be urgent now, right? But it's important to start saving, right? So yeah. Okay. What else? Quality time. Okay, yep. Quality time means like vacation, right? Go on vacation, schedule a plan for vacation. That is important because it will, in the long run, make you and your family happy and not happy, right? The other one is training, right? Yeah, it's not urgent because you can schedule your training either today, next week, or next month. But training is important, right? That's what the fireman is doing, right? So whatever they are free, they're doing training, right? Continuous improvement program, yeah, that's true, right? That is not urgent but important. So what Stephen Covey is trying to say here, if you can focus on quadrant number 2, which is not urgent and important, your life will be very much in control. But if you live in quadrant 1, urgent and important, always urgent and important, you are doing a lot of firefighting on the production floor. You fight with the people to ask for a system, you ask for this, because if you don't do it, the production floor will shut down, things will not move as what they are. So it's very urgent and important. You end up in that cycle again and again and again, right? You will be burnt out, right? Don't live in the quadrant 1, live in quadrant 2. If you live in quadrant 3, you will start be slacking. Quadrant 4, the bottom right, that is the worst one. You can be very become beach bum, or you don't care about things. You're not healthy. You will be really wasting a lot of time in your life when you focus on quadrant 4. So Stephen Covey is saying that focus on quadrant 2, right? Focus on things is not urgent but important. Okay, if you do that, you will cover quadrant 1, because when the quadrant 1 happen, you already know what to do and you can control the situation, and you will not be burnt out, you will not be fatigued, whatever it is, right? Okay, that is what we call habit 3. Put first thing first, right? What is your big rock, right? What is your small rocks, right? So focus on the big rocks, but when you have times, you do some small rock to fill up the times. But a lot of people confuse which is my big rocks. Oh, I have a family, I have Intel work, or I have to do this, I have to do some saving, but then there's a need to do a lot of this, buying a lot of small things, right? End up eating your saving, right? Things like that, right? Okay, so Covey offers a simple yet powerful solution that anyone can use to figure out which goals they should put first, right? That's what I go through the quadrant time management quadrant just now, right? Focus, not urgent but important, right? Okay, so you can use this to do it every week or every month to just check whatever you do, are you doing the big rocks first or not? Are you wasting a lot of time reading junk emails or surf internet, watching videos, whatever it is, right? Instead of look at the skill, try to read some technical stuff to enhance your technical skill, whatever it is, right? Okay. So the time quadrant, right? If you spend a lot of time in quadrant 1, they say that you are procrastinator. That means you always do last minute. Then because of that, you panic, you burn out, whatever it is, right? So if you do quadrant 2, they call it the prioritizer. That means you are very good in arranging your time, which one is number 1, which one number 2, which was number 3, right? Because you cannot have everything number 1. No way you can do that, right? So you have to decide what is your number 1, number 2, number 3, and the rest is considered small rocks, right? Then if you are number 3 in quadrant 3, they call it you are yes man. You know, whatever push down to you, you always accept and do it because it's your boss, then you do it. Sometimes, you know, the boss didn't tell you that, hey, actually I need it, you know, not today, but because of he give you the you thought it is very important, you try to rush it and you keep reading, but a lot of time also things can be pushed out, right? Okay, then the slacker, right? So if you watch too much TV, you watch too much, you surf internet too much, you know, or you're reading things like, you know, junk, whatever it is, right? Too much, right? Or you eat a lot of junk food, you don't take care of your health, right? Then you are a slacker, right? So focus on quadrant 2, right? That's what habit 3 is all about. Put first thing first, okay? Okay, this is very interesting, right? Think win-win. When you have argument with someone, what outcome do you usually seek? Do you always want to win? Or you want to give way, right? Or you don't care whether you win or lose, you don't care, right? So there are different category, right? Right. So, but what Stephen Covey is trying to say in habit 4, you must always think win-win. You got something, the other guy also got something, right? Okay. So Covey argues that things don't necessarily need to be this way. He knows that win-lose confrontation can often result in both sides losing. For example, you go to war, right? You know, World War I, World War II, you know, is German really win in the first World War or whatever it is, you know? If somebody wins, what happened to the country? You know, people die, building damage, right? The whole country it become a junk, right? Because, you know, you destroy the agriculture, the land, whatever it is, right? So actually, what Stephen Covey is trying to say that if you look at different angle, actually both sides lose, right? You try to win, you know, it's like competition, right? You run 100 meter, right? Everybody will run less than, you know, 10 seconds, but the first one will win because he finished first, but he will win by 0.01 second, right? Okay, so that's what it's saying. Win lose, sometimes both sides lose also, right? So what Stephen Covey is saying that the fourth habit is just about business deal is also applied to relationship, right? You develop relationship with someone, you know, Covey suggests you build emotional bank, right? You, after one time, that emotional bank will create a lot of benefits such as increase the trust level, right? Right. So you probably see life as a competitive, but that isn't enough for everyone, right? So if you always have win-lose situation, you only focus on, hey, there's only this amount, you know, if I don't get it, you know, then I won't get it, right? But you have to think it differently, right? So if you want to think of win-win, you have to put yourself in other people's shoes on your opponent and see what the opponent see and what they want. Then only you can counter back, right? Saying that, hey, okay, let's do the third alternative, right? And the third alternative would say that 1 + 1 is not just 2. 1 + 1 become, you will get 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? That is what win-win situation is. Okay, so I have a story which I told my student in the past, right? This is a local story, right? Okay, you know Chupeng. Chupeng is the used to be a sugar plantation owned by, I think, these Corp brothers in Perlis, right? So it's a big land. They grow sugar cane, right? So at the fringe of the sugar plantation, there's a lot of small village, kampung, right? And these kampung people, the villager, grow cattle, you know. So on and on, this cattle will go to this edge of this sugar plantation and eat the small sugar cane, you know. As a result, from time to time, the whole plantation during the harvest time, they harvest less because some of the sugarcane was eaten by this cow, right? So they try to do a lot of things, right? They put a fence around the sugar plantation. It never worked because the villagers even cut the fence and then let the cow come in, right? And then they put a lot of this security, right? So, but how many security can you put around the sugar plantation? It was a big land, right? You got here, the cow under that side, you know, you got here, then the under that side. So there's always this lose-win situation from the plantation standpoint, right? Of course, the villagers have a big cow because the cow keep eating healthy young sugar canes, right? So what is the solution to have a win-win situation? Anybody can suggest. But this is a true story. This is a true story. Anybody want to
offer the cow during the Hari Haji lah?
Okay, make a korban, right. So what any other suggestion? So what happened? So one day this sugar plantation hire young managers, you know. So these young managers go around and look at the village, you know. He also try to understand the history, what the plantation have done. So then one day he go to the village's headman. He said, okay, let's gather all the owners of the cow, right? So they discuss inside there, right? So he come with the idea, okay, they said that, okay, guys, we are shorting of sugar canes, you know, the next 6 months. What we want you to do is that we give you young sugar cane for you to grow yourself. And then when the harvest time, we will buy that sugar cane from you, you know. So he give the villagers, the cow owners, the seed of the sugar cane, right? So these villagers, right, will grow the sugar cane near their house, you know, around their house, you know. So what happened is that in order to protect the sugarcane that the villagers grow, the village men will start tying their cows to a tree far away, you know, so that the cow will not eat the sugarcane that these villagers grow, right? So what happened? During the harvest time, the plantation didn't lose any sugarcane because the cow is not eating them, and then they have a bonus when they buy the sugarcane from the villagers, right? So what happens is that not only the sugar plantation have a win a lot of harvest, right? But the villagers also win because they get money when they sell their sugarcane to this sugarcane plantation. So the result is a win-win situation. So who lose? The cow. People say the cow lose because they eat far away, right? Okay. But the concept is there, right? A win-win situation. The plantation get more harvest on the sugarcane, and the villagers also get some money by selling the sugarcane that they grow and sell it to their planters, right? So this is a situation what we call win-win situation. Okay, right? Okay, so this is some of the what I just said, right? There's a condition of lose-win. So lose-win situation normally happen to what? Normally to your spouse lah. You know, you want to take care of your spouse feeling, right? You let your spouse always win, Okay, so you talk about lose-lose. What's condition of lose-lose situation? Lose-lose, you don't care lah. You're so fed up. You try to do a lot of things. You don't care anymore. You don't care what happened to you. You don't care what happened to this. Like people very frustrated lah. Maybe they don't want to move on, so they don't care about what happened around him. We don't care about what happened to him, right? So win-lose normally in the tournament, right? So, but the win-win is the one that we should be trying to do in the business or in our personal relationship, right? To have a win-win situation, right? So that we keep everybody happy, right? It's not easy stuff, but that is what Habit 4 is talk about. Win-win, think win-win. Okay.
Hey Parid, I think the lose-lose, like I got one thought is that lose is like when people give you some present, especially like let's say I was speaking like some of the people that I know, like you give you present, they say, jangan lah, it's okay, I don't need that, and then you put back, right? So I think it's a kind of lose-lose, like that you don't get the present, and the person has sincerely give you the present, also feel, I already put so many effort, give you the present, but you don't want. Actually, this was the thinking. I said that it can be lose-lose if people give you some present and you don't want to take it, and it's not good lah, I think.
Yes. Yeah, normally we say we just appreciate that. We don't care what people give, right? We appreciate whether it's big, small, whatever it is, whether it's just hey, happy birthday, no present, that's still good enough, So you always think win-win, hey, anything. Anyway, I've got my wish from that person, right? So yeah, it's a win-win situation rather than say, hey, no, honestly, you keep the money is for yourself, no, I don't need, right? So that means you don't appreciate the whatever people give lah. Yeah, there's a loose thinking lah, right? Okay, so habit 5, so we just 5, 11. Okay, so I think you've got time. Okay, seek first to understand, then to be understood. I think this is very key. A lot of us, because we are used to so conditioned, we think we know everything, then we don't want to listen. We have a preconceived idea what happened in our history, right? We thought that the same solution can be applied to whatever people who want to ask advice from you, right? Some people also don't want a solution from you. They just want you to listen. What is their want to say, So, but we don't hear. We look from the outside. We start prescribing a solution, right? So that is wrong. So habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood, right? So you need to listen what is happening and you have to put yourself in the frame of that person for you to be able to really understand and everything that he wants to explain. And you should what I call shut your mouth, right? Don't say first when this is what happened, right? Is give the example of a doctor, right? When you visit a doctor, right, the doctor tend to listen to what you speak. Then you say, oh, I got stomach ache, I'm feel drowsy, my temperature go up, and I vomit, blah blah blah, right? So when after a while, then the doctor will check again. How long has this happened? And you say it's since last night. I've been to toilet for many. Then you say, okay, I think you got a diarrhea and you got food poisoning. Because of that, I will prescribe you some pills. What I call this charcoal to reduce your diarrhea, and this to medicine to control your temperature, blah blah. Right. But what happens if you just go into the doctor's room without saying anything. The doctor say, okay, Parid, this is your medicine, and you, I think you have this, you know. Not even you open your mouth, you know, and then end up actually is a wrong medication, right? So you don't want to happen to that, right? You felt very bad. So what is this doctor? Too smart, you know, without I telling him what is happened to me, he already prescribed the medicine to me, right?
Yeah.
So you feel bad about it, right? So it's the same thing, right? So when you are listened to, a good listener will normally, you know, use the ear to listen, right? What happens is that the eye is focused on the people, right? When I think sometimes, you know, it happened to me a few times when I go to see my, you know, old boss, long time, not now, long time ago. I go to the guy and say, hey boss, you know, there's a low yield, blah blah blah, and your boss is typing something in the monitor, right? And okay, go on, Parid, I'm listening, but actually he's not listening. He was typing and he was reading the mail, and then you say, oh, go on, you know. By the end of your conversation, you will say, boss, what you should do? Oh, can you repeat that again? You know, so that is not listening, right? When you listen to people, you look, your eyes is focusing on the person, right? Your mouth shut, you know, don't say anything, then try to put the word in the person's mouth, right? Let the person speak, right? Your body, right, you should face the person, right? Not your body is facing some other angle, whatever it is, right? Your hands still, right? You know, your feet come. That's what you're trying to say, right? Don't raise your hand and, you know, or folding, you know. When people talk to you, you start folding your arms around your body. What happened? People will see that you are start defensive, right? You try to, but if you open your arms, right, that means you are welcoming the person and, hey, let's talk more. I want to listen more, right? But when you stand like that, you see that, you know, I don't say he's wasting my time, you know, what's this guy trying to do, right? So you become defensive, right? So okay. What Stephen Covey is trying to say, focus on what you see. What emotion can you identify? Whether the person is crying, whether the person is, you know, the eyes is become, you know, watery, you know. What are the people saying what with their body language? Are they angry? Are they shouting? You know, they raise the voice, or their eyes become, you know, very rounded, or, you know, or the eyes become very, you know, flat, whatever it is, right? So Covey point out that this second scenario is exactly how most people act when they listen to other people. They listen simply to provide an answer instead of listening to really understand. Okay, you listen to provide answer. People don't necessarily come to you to ask for advice, right? People they'll come to you, you know, sometimes they want to express their feelings, what happened in the last half an hour, right? Whether they are angry or whatever it is, right? So to adopt the fit habit, Covey asks his students to try empathetic listening. Try to get inside another person's way of thinking and understand them intellectually and emotionally. So what is empathic listening? So give you briefly, this is the empathetic listening skill. To develop empathy listening, Covey asks people to try this: observe and study a conversation without being able to hear the words, right? So if you look at this chart, the box here, so be attentive. That means your eyes is focused. You know, look at the person's eyes, you know, and don't move around. Don't look at the ceiling. And when the people talk to you, look at the ceiling, look at the floor, left and right, you know. But your eyes focus on the person, right? Ask open-ended question. It means that when you want to get the person pouring out the things, right, don't ask close-ended. Close-ended can be, example, like, have you eat? The answer will be yes or no. That's it, you know. The conversation can stop there, right? But if you say, hey, you look very sleepy after lunch, right? So what would the answer? It cannot be yes or no. It can be, yeah, I have lunch half an hour ago. I eat biryani, maybe it's too much. I add in that. So the conversation will be flowing, right? So that's what ask open-ended question, right? Now, ask probing question. This can be very tricky, So a lot of time, if you ask probing question, it will just shut the person out. So don't probe. It's like a policeman. If a policeman asks the criminal guy, normally the criminal guys will not answer, right? Because the police is probing them, and if the more they answer, the answer can be used against him in the court, right? So don't ask probing question, right? Request for clarification. Okay, that's what you should do. When the people say that, hey, somebody passed last night, and I'm it's very close to me, blah blah blah, right? Then you should ask clarifying question. Oh, you are saying that somebody close to you passed away. That's what I'm trying to say. So you ask for clarification. That's why you're not happy, right? Yeah. And then you paraphrase. You try to repeat again what the guy said to you to ensure that you really hearing and understand what he's trying to say. So you prepare. Also, you are saying your cat died, and the cat is one of your best cat that you love a lot, and you have been taking care. Is that what you are trying to say, right? Oh yes, exactly, Parid. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not just ordinary cat. Is my best cat, it's Siamese cat, it was with me for the last 5. See, I keep pouring things, right? Because I know that you understand what I'm trying to say. It's not just ordinary cat, it's a Siamese cat, and it was with me for the last 5 years, right? So then talk about be attuned to and reflect the feelings. So you reflect, oh, it sounds not happy because you've been scolded by this. So you're really not happy. So you're telling the person that it seems that you look like you're not happy, blah blah blah, right? So you reflect the feeling of the person, right? Okay, and then you summarize it. So at the end now, so it looks like you are telling me that your cat died last night, and the cat was with you for the last 5 years. It's your best cat, and you're not happy with it, and you are, blah blah blah. Right? You summarize at the end of the thing. So it tells you that you are really listening what it said, right? Okay, so that is what empathic listening skill is all about. Okay, so now we move to habit 6. Synergize by treating others with openness and respect, right? So what it means, synergizing, trying to listen to other people. That means if you are working a team, you are giving the airtime to everybody to speak up. You don't shut down any members at all, right? So give your team members an airtime, right? So that's what we call try to listening to other people, right? Putting yourself in other people's shoes. Don't just think of yourself, right? Think of yourself in his shoes, right? If you are that person, right, what is happening, right? Then you will see that it's a totally different scenario, right? If you have a car, you're driving, and then the other person just don't have a car, right? And he come late, right? If you have to put yourself, if I don't have a car, what will I do? I will take a bus. What happens if I miss the bus, right? So rather than say, you are late, so you look at me. I'm always on time, because you always think that you have a car. That's why you're always on time. But this person, he was late because today there's raining and he don't have his own transport, right? So if you put yourself in that people's shoe, you can understand the situation, and then you can understand why things happen, right? Use the contribution of others as springboard to something great, right? So every idea that what the people give out during the conversation, whatever it is, right? Use that to get further to something better, right? So if you look at the chart down there, right? If you are thinking about what I call a win-win situation, it means that you make sure everybody have the say in the conversation. you respect diversity, right? You build trust. When everybody trust each other, right? Then you become synergy. And then the result coming off from that team is much, much bigger compared to a team who has no trust. People just keep to themselves. People don't listen to each other, right? So it's the dysfunctional team, right? But if you have a team that understand, have trust, respect each other, respect diversity, right? Then the team is synergized with each other, and it is synergistic team, right? And you can achieve win-win much, much better in this environment compared to the other environment, right? Okay. Okay. So, sorry. So to implement this, Covey said that ask his reader to list people that they're having difficulty discussing things with. He challenged his reader to think about their views and find ways that they can find synergy between their views and the views of other people, right? So you find a common ground. What he's trying to say is find a common ground, common value, then you work on that common values, you achieve bigger and higher results. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Right. So the last one talk about sharpen the saw if you want to keep sawing, right? So it's very clear, right? If you don't sharpen the saw, you keep sawing, what happened to the whole process? It will take longer time. You end up use a lot of energy because your saw is blunt, right? So it cannot cut the wood anymore, and you keep pushing in and out, and end up you waste a lot of energy, waste a lot of time. So you need to sharpen the saw, and what it means by sharpen the saw is that you need to improve yourself, right? Identify key area on your self, for example, in social and emotional health, for example, right? Talk about mentally health, right? Talk about spiritual health, talk about physical health, right? So how many of you, I ask, exercise every day or every week? How many times you exercise? Anybody exercise?
Put out your hand lah. Put out your hand.
Put your hands, or anybody? Is everybody exercise every day?
Hey, Tarik, I don't raise up my hand because I don't do it every day.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Okay, my survey, and this also true to everybody. Every time I ask this question, how many of the people exercise every day or every week, right? Only less than 10% what I call raise their hand. Less than 10%. The rest of 90%, even maybe once a month or once a year or whatever is exercise. But less than 10% will do exercise every day or every week, Less than 10%. I guarantee you. This is my survey. Every time I have the class, last time I asked this question, less than 10% raise their hand, right? So what happened actually, right? But if I ask this question, how many of you subscribe life insurance? The answer will be 90% raise their hand. 90% of the audience say they have life insurance. And my response to that is that it means that you prepare to die. You're not preparing to live longer. Correct or not? Life insurance is what mean? Oh, if you die, that means you got a life insurance, and then your family will get it lah. So you're preparing to die, and hopefully, and you don't get anything actually, because the money go to your family, not to you, because you die already, right? But if you exercise, what happen? You live longer. You don't even need the life insurance, maybe, right? So invest in something that is really, really true, not something that, you don't want it anymore because you die, somebody got it, right? So physically healthy, you should invest in exercise, right? Spiritual can be meditation. Those people who is religious, they pray, whatever it is, they go to mosque, go to church, whatever it is, right? So spiritual, some people do yoga and meditation, whatever it is, right? So spiritual, it can even sit down quietly in one corner of the road or by the beach alone and talk about yourself, what you are today, do a contemplation, right, of yourself, where you are, right? And is there an inflection point where you want to be somebody? Is that what you really want, in life, right? So that it can be spiritual health. Mentally health is talk about, reading, right? Do something that to increase your skill, your knowledge, right? Do a lot of reading, right? That is what it is, right? Right. And then social and emotional health. Social and emotional can be something around you. Do something about your community, right? Volunteer in teaching English or mathematics to primary school, right? It can be, or do what we call a gotong royong in a blind association, right? All this is increase the what I call social connection, and that will keep your health, balanced, right? So what Stephen Covey is trying to say is that you need to do something about your social, emotional health, your mental health, spiritual health, physical health, right? Don't, you need to balance this. That is basically what he's trying to say, right? Right. Okay. Social and emotional health focus on building positive relationship with others and working on projects that help improve their life, right? Mental health, right? Talk about spiritual health, right? Talk about encourage this leader to regularly exercise to boost their physical health. Okay? All right, that is habit 7 already. Okay, this is what we call punch today in the face, right? So I say that I truly believe that we are the one who decide what our days will look like. Yes, many things happen along the way, but we decide how to cope with them. And I decided a long time ago to be as positive I can and to spend my days with a smile on my face, right? Okay. He always learning, I'm always learning, always taking to people, talking to people smarter than me, reading, researching, taking courses, trying to stay up to date. But I did pick some tips and tricks along the way that help me every day, right? So you have to keep learning. You have to mix with the right people, right? And do a lot of research, keep taking courses, so because what 10 years ago will be obsolete by now. People talk about AI, people talk about deep learning, people talk about robotics, all that stuff right today rather than in the past, right? Okay, so this last page is a summary of what you will get if you attend the 7 habit. So the class 7 habit try to put in a very systematic way what Stephen Covey tried to convey the message to you, right? From habit 1 all the way to habit 7, right? So talk about private victory, talk about public victory, talk about empathy, and so on, right? So if you happen got a chance to go this 7 habit class, go attend the 7 habit class, right? It's a 2-day full class, right? If you have a chance. Okay. Okay. So I think after you listen all these, this is just words from Walt Disney. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So you have to walk the talk, right? Not just listen and do the talk, right? But you don't do anything. So begin doing something. Then you can get started, right? Okay. So in conclusion, the book has condensed a lot of and highlighted what Stephen Covey 7 habits of highly effective people. So if you want to become more effective in what you're doing today, practice the 7 habits. You might not practice the whole 7, right? But you can start with habit 1, or maybe you can start with habit 6, or maybe habit 7, whatever it is, But the important thing, you do something about it, right? So the key message of the book is that adopting the right habit will lead to a lasting effectiveness, right? So I really encourage you to read the books, right? And if you got a chance to attend the 7 Habit class for yourself or even for your family, sometimes outside there's a lot of classes arranged by some companies on this, so you can also go outside if you want, attend with your family, your kids, then you can appreciate a lot, All right. Okay, Billy, that's all I have, Billy.
Awesome.
Hey, thank you for watching, and if you like video like this, you want to check out a few videos that we posted over here. And do like and subscribe to us because we are going to do a book club sharing every month and share the content with you. And you'll learn while sitting at your house. See you next month and happy learning!